The issue of events has come up a lot in my circle. I thought I'd comment about this because many people are adding events to their brand and to their business, and some people are in the event business per se. They're actually running events. They might have an arts organization or a business conference or a festival or any number of things that essentially are an event where you're bringing people together for a specific purpose. This is very exciting because we are in an experiential economy, and that means that there are many people out there that want to experience events, they want to be engaged, and many entrepreneurs can add an event to what they're doing, and it will amplify what they're doing, it will connect with a new audience, and it will give their audience a greater sense of their brand, the opportunities with their brand, and most important, it gives them something to associate and align with. There are many reasons why people attend events. Sometimes it's social, sometimes it's business networking, sometimes they want to be engaged in a particular cause, sometimes they want to participate. So it is a multi-pronged effort, so to speak, in understanding the power of an event and how you can leverage that effectively. Now, I believe the most important thing to understand about an event is to understand and to cultivate your audiences. And I say audiences plural because most events have more than one audience, and this can sometimes be confusing because while there are multiple audiences, it does not mean that there are multiple messages. In fact, what you want to do with an event is you want to align the multiple audiences with one singular message. And this is a little trickier than it seems. When I was in the sports business, I would often go into the room and I would draw a cone. And the cone would be on its side, and the smaller part of the cone would be the team, the league, the media, sponsors, and it would fan out to the fan. And that's the same cone that I use when I'm working with people who are doing events and who are building arts organizations. They have the same dimensions. So you might have your artists down at the bottom of the cone, and then you have maybe donors, you have educators, you have partners, other art organizations, you have sponsors, you have media, and then you have fans. And all of them have to be aligned with the same message. And fan demographics, fan psychographics are the most important audience because it is that audience that everyone rallies around. That's the reason why someone will sponsor you. That's the reason why someone will partner with you. That's the reason why an educator might get involved and teach a class. That is what distinguishes you from other festivals and arts organizations and programs. So it's important to understand your audience, but also understand that larger audience, those fans, those consumers, those people who are in the audience are the people that they are most concerned with, because they're going to support you because they want access to that audience. Now, this is a very it can be a confusing thing because sometimes when you're running these things, you get so caught up in the logistics of all of these elements of putting on the event, of getting teachers, of getting people to run having an MC, having food, having this, that you can forget the message and the whole purpose. And I often will look at it, a arts organization or an arts program or a event organization, and I can't figure out, well, what are they trying to do really? Because they get into talking about the logistics. This is our 10th year doing this. This is our 15th year doing this. We bring together educators from around this area and so forth. We have pioneered this, that, and the other. But in none of that do they say, here's who we are. Here's what we do. Here's what distinguishes us from others, other than their logistics. Now, this is particularly important because in addition to these multiple audiences, there are multiple revenue streams that you have to pay attention to. And each one of these revenue streams requires that you articulate your vision and your message really clearly so that the people who are writing checks, swiping credit cards, sending in cash, donating, participating, understand what they're participating in. Why are they putting money into this? Why are they coming? Why are they involved? Is it just another thing on their agenda? Or are you doing something that's bigger, that's broader, that's more significant, and for whom? So these are all very important questions. So you have revenue streams like membership, you have ticket sales, you have advertising, you have sponsorship, you have merchandising. You might even sell the content from your event as a different stream. So all of these things have to be thought about when it comes to, what you're doing. Now, a good way of thinking about this is to consider maybe a television model, because sometimes it's easier to understand if you think of it that way, or film, maybe television model, I think. So if you think, for example, Disney, right? What does Disney stand for? Disney is, say, the big event here, right? And then within Disney, there is programming. There are your individual dates and your individual activities. So Disney stands for what? It stands for fantasy. It stands for imagination. It stands for adventure. And then you have the individual programs or films or television shows. And so that's where you get into things like Mickey Mouse and Lion King. These are all examples of how they execute that broader messaging and that broader theme. And then when you speak about audiences, well, the audiences are families. These are families often with young children. And so if you use that example, you can understand really clearly how you have to position what you're doing so that people understand who you are, who you're targeting, and why they should be involved. Now, what if Disney said, look, we've been doing this for 50 years, or we bring together people from all across the nation to come to our park, or we're celebrating this year, this person from this country and this person from that country. It wouldn't tell you anything. It would just tell you the logistics of what's involved. So my point to you is when you think about your events and when you create events, and if you're in the event business, you have to nail this piece, or else you're just dealing with logistics. Now, so what are the steps? What are the steps in solidifying this, making this really sharp, whether you're in the event business or whether you're adding event? Number one is to identify your message. What is your message? And that's going to be a combination of your own vision, your own mission, your own creativity, and frankly, what others are doing so that you can stand out. So you might want to find a way to, you might even do something that someone else is doing, but you do it slightly differently, and you're able to articulate it in a way that people can understand the difference. So when I work with consulting clients, that's what I work on, and that messaging is really important. Now, the other piece of this that is important, the next step, is really understanding your audience or your market. So who are you talking to? In the Disney example, we talked about families. So if you imagine if you had a festival of some kind and you were aiming at families, so you have educators who are aimed at families, you have teachers who are aimed at families, you have donors who want to support families, you have sponsors who want those families to buy their products and services, and so on. You have to nail that audience. And then the next piece of that is the programming or the media or the vehicles that you will provide to make that happen. And programming are opportunities to engage with the audience. It might be something they watch, it might be something they come to, it might be a class they engage with, it might be something that they contribute to. That's what programming is. It's not just a program, but it's programming. So these three elements are the things that will really make an event business work and an event work as part of your brand. Remember these three things: your message, your audience, and get the right programming. And of course, you have to factor in all those things that I've talked about earlier about making sure that your positioning is really clear. If you like this tip, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you like it. Share it with someone in your network. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.